A strange new object is now streaking through the inner solar system, and it is not behaving like anything we've ever seen. Scientists call it 3 Atlas, the third officially confirmed interstellar object to visit our cosmic neighbourhood. But this is not just another visitor. What's unusual about this one? It's accelerating, without a tail. It's emitting jets. But they aren't symmetrical. And as of November 9th, it has turned an eerie electric blue. Bluer than our own sun. Very unusual, very strange. In fact, on November 7th, renowned Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb publicly said, "It manoeuvred." And if he's right, then we are not just witnessing a comet. We may be watching an object from another civilization, or something far more mysterious, interact with our solar system, as if it's been here before. In tonight's special report, we investigate the growing theory that 3I Atlas is part of a cosmic pattern, one that connects to 2 other historic anomalies that continue to defy scientific explanation. The 1908 Tunguska explosion in Siberia, and the 1859 Carrington event, the strongest solar storm ever recorded. 2 events that occurred exactly 49 years apart. Now, 3I Atlas appears, 66 years after Tunguska, and it's aligning with Earth this December. Coincidence? Or something deeper? Hi, I'm your channel name, and this is our continuing cosmic investigation into 3I Atlas, its current trajectory toward Earth, and the strange historical echoes it seems to be triggering across time. Make sure you subscribe, because this object reaches its closest point to Earth on December 19th, and the real mystery might not even begin until then. Let's begin where everything changed. October 29th, 2025, the day 3I Atlas reached its closest point to the Sun, known as perihelion, and something no comet has ever done happened. Imagine standing inside a giant 3D simulation of our solar system. The Sun blazes at the centre, with Earth, Mars and Jupiter spinning in their elegant ellipses. You zoom in near the ecliptic plane, and there it is, a fast-moving dot with a fuzzy glow, labelled 3I Atlas. Trajectory inbound, speed 150 km per second. Direction, coplanar with the planetary orbits, and then suddenly, the dot changes. According to trajectory data from the NASA JPL Horizon system, around perihelion, 203 million kilometers from the Sun, the object's speed did not decrease as expected due to solar drag. Instead, it accelerated sideways. This isn't supposed to happen. Comets accelerate due to tail outgassing. Sublimated ice and gas create thrust in the opposite direction, but 3I Atlas has no visible tail, only 7 directional jets. Asymmetrical, uneven, almost surgical in where they appear. As Virtual Telescope Project Director Dr. Gianluca Marci put it in a November 10th update, "We've never seen a so-called comet act like this. Its EIGA, motion and colour are inconsistent with natural expectations. And yet, the acceleration matches something remarkable. According to estimates from Harvard's Galileo project, the force required for this sideways movement equals an internal mass ejection of over 5 billion tons. But no such mass loss has been detected. So, what moved it?" On November 7th, during a Newsmax interview, Dr. Avi Loeb said something that stunned much of the scientific community. It manoeuvred. Not drifted, not deviated, manoeuvred, which suggests intentional motion. And that single word has ignited controversy from NASA to Capitol Hill. But Loeb isn't guessing. He's citing data. As 3I Atlas passed behind the Sun, in late October, many astronomers assumed its next visible pass would be uneventful, a typical dimming, perhaps some tail development. Instead, between November 6th and 9th, multiple observatories, including the Las Vegas Galileo Project Array, reported something unexpected: a brightness increase of 500%, a spectral shift into blue, and most bizarrely, a drop in infrared emissions. Comets typically redden as they shed dust and ice, but 3I Atlas became the bluest natural object we've ever tracked, even more blue than our Sun, which sits at 5,800 Kelvin. Yet thermal models show that 3I Atlas is cooler than that. How can a cooler object emit shorter wavelengths? The math doesn't work unless some non-thermal process is at play. Could it be high-energy particle emissions? Could it be radiation scattering from an artificial shell? No one knows. As Dr. Loeb put it, this spectral profile does not match any known comet or asteroid, and the object's composition adds fuel to the fire. Spectral analysis suggests a nickel-rich body, extremely rare for natural interstellar debris, and the iron-to-nickel ratio is inverted. Again, extremely unusual for anything formed in a stellar system. We may be looking at a manufactured alloy, or the fragment of something that once was, and now it's heading straight toward Earth's orbital path. December 19th, 2025. Mark this date. 3I Atlas will make its closest approach to Earth just 6 days before Christmas. At a distance still classified as safe, but close enough for ground-based radar to scan its surface in detail. Multiple institutions are preparing for the pass. NASA JPL will update optical tracking every 6 hours. The Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter may image it from behind. Harvard's Galileo project is planning infrared observation. But what's drawing the most attention is not just where 3I Atlas is going, it's where it came from. Its entry vector, near Sagittarius, places it within just 9 degrees of the origin zone for the 1977 WOW signal, the strongest candidate for an extraterrestrial radio transmission ever recorded. Coincidence? That's what many thought, until researchers noticed something else. 3I Atlas's trajectory mirrors another mysterious body, the Tunguska object of 1908, June 30th, 1908. A massive explosion flattened over 2,000 square kilometres of Siberian forest. Trees were scorched and knocked down in radial patterns. Seismic instruments detected the shockwaves as far as London, and yet no impact crater was ever found. The best guess? An airburst, something exploded in the sky. But what? No asteroid fragments were recovered. No cometary dust. Only rare elements, some matching those found on 3I Atlas. And get this, Tunguska occurred exactly 49 years after the Carrington event, the strongest geomagnetic solar storm in recorded history. 2 cosmic anomalies 49 years apart, then silence. Now, in 2025, 66 years later, comes 3I Atlas. Is there a rhythm here, a hidden cycle no one has noticed? Or are these events somehow linked by intention, not chance? We'll explore that more in part 2, but first we return to the skies, to where 3 Atlas is now, and where it may be going. As we pick up where we left off, the story of 3I Atlas begins to bend the boundaries of coincidence, because it's not just its manoeuvring or spectral anomalies that have scientists scratching their heads. It's the growing suspicion that this interstellar object is somehow connected to events that took place long before modern telescopes ever found it. The Tunguska event in 1908, the Carrington event in 1859, and perhaps even something still ahead of us scheduled for December 19th, 2025. This isn't just about astronomy anymore. This is a mystery crossing time. Let's travel back to the year 1859. Before radio, before electricity reached homes, before we knew the sun could ever harm us. On September 1st of that year, British astronomer Richard Carrington observed a sudden, massive solar flare erupt from the sun's surface. Within 17 hours, Earth was struck by the most intense geomagnetic storm ever recorded. Auroras were seen as far south as Colombia. Telegraph lines caught fire from induced currents. Some operators received electric shocks through their earpieces. And here's where it gets strange. A small handful of eyewitness accounts claim a flaming star passed through the upper atmosphere days before, though no official record ties that to the flare. Yet some theorists now wonder, what if objects like 3I Atlas don't just pass through? What if they activate solar phenomena? Interestingly, solar activity in late 2025 has been increasing at an unusual pace. On October 31st, the ESA's solar orbiter detected a massive coronal loop formation. On November 8th, NASA's Solar Dynamics Observatory logged an X-class flare, the third in 2 weeks. And Earth's geomagnetic field, currently agitated. Is this all just solar coincidence during an active cycle? Or is something interacting with the sun, deliberately or otherwise? Because the last time we had this kind of sudden peak in solar behaviour brought it 14 was in 1908, right before Tunguska. As of this week, at least 6 major observatories are racing to capture high-resolution imagery of 3I Atlas. But oddly, one agency remains silent: NASA. Specifically, the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter's HiRISE camera, one of the most powerful optical instruments in our solar system, flew within imaging range of 3I Atlas during its October perihelion arc. The Galileo project and several independent astronomers requested that NASA release the HiRISE images. To date, no response. On Capitol Hill, Representative Anna Paulina Luna publicly pressed NASA during a committee meeting on November 15th. Her exact question: do we or do we not have imagery of 3I Atlas from Mars orbit? The response from NASA: we are reviewing internal communications. That vague answer has only fueled speculation, because according to internal tracking data from the Horizon system, 3I Atlas passed within optimal HiRISE range on October 30th. So what did they see? And why haven't we? Let's zoom out, back into our 3D solar system visualization. Now place Earth, Mars, and 3I Atlas in orbital motion. According to Sky Safari Pro simulations, on December 19th, 3I Atlas will form a near-perfect line with Earth and Mars, with the Sun just 17 degrees off-plane. Not exact, but remarkably close. Overlay that with the historical positions of Earth on June 30th, 1908 Tunguska, and September 1st, 1859 Carrington, and a geometric pattern emerges, a cyclical return to similar orbital alignment zones. Is this a natural resonance, or a marker system, something artificial designed to interact when the geometry is just right? That's not science fiction. That's the actual debate unfolding in scientific circles. Because what surprised many researchers isn't just where 3I Atlas is, it's how it got here. Its trajectory follows a hyperbolic path, meaning it did not originate in our solar system, yet it entered the inner planet's orbital plane with such precision, it passed within observational range of the Virtual Telescope Project in Italy, the Subaru Telescope in Hawaii, the Lowell Observatory in Arizona, and within reach of Juno's long-range instruments. Though NASA has not confirmed, if it was observed again, no tail, no coma, no fragment trail, just 7 asymmetric jets and that unsettling blue glow. Let's return to the man at the centre of this theory. Dr. Avi Loeb, former chair of Harvard's astronomy department and founder of the Galileo project. He is no stranger to controversy. He was one of the first mainstream scientists to suggest Oumuamua, the first interstellar object detected in 2017, may have been artificial. Now he's doubling down. In a congressional science briefing held behind closed doors in Washington, D.C. on November 12th, Loeb presented a full report titled Trajectory Anomalies in Non-Tail Cometary Objects. According to leaked summary notes, Loeb's key points were 3I Atlas's acceleration is non-random and inconsistent with outgassing. The spectral profile implies engineered materials. The object's jets are mechanically ideal for low-fuel propulsion. And most importantly, there is no known physical model that accounts for all observed behaviours under the standard cometary framework. In simpler terms, if it looks like a probe, moves like a probe, and behaves like no natural object we know, then maybe, just maybe, it isn't a natural object. But here's where the story deepens even more. Because Loeb isn't just pointing at this one object, he's pointing back to Tunguska and forward to March 16, 2026. According to Loeb's calculations, if a mission were to launch from Earth orbit immediately after closest approach in December 2025, a carefully timed gravity slingshot could allow an intercept window to 3E Atlas by March 16, 2026. He calls this the Juno window, named for the Jupiter orbiter mission, which pioneered complex trajectory assists. Theoretically, if 3I Atlas maintains current speed, 150 km/h and trajectory, we could reach it with a hybrid propulsion intercept. Loeb's team has even proposed a blueprint for a solar sail vehicle that could ride the radiation tail of a close pass. Why the urgency? Because if 3I Atlas does fragment during Earth flyby, we may lose our chance to ever study it up close. And if it doesn't fragment, then it might be leaving. And that leads to the final question of tonight's episode. What if this object is not just arriving, but returning? In an eerie twist, simulation models from astronomer Craig Welling, an independent researcher from New Zealand, suggest that if 3I Atlas were a repeating object, it could have passed through the solar system approximately 66 years ago, aligning within a few degrees of Earth during that same year, 1959, a non-public year in astronomy. But exactly 51 years after Tunguska, and 100 after Carrington, could we be looking at a pattern? Every 550-66 years, a strange event aligned with Earth and the Sun. Is 3I Atlas a trigger, a messenger, or even a recording device moving on a schedule we don't yet understand? Loeb has suggested that, quote, the sky may contain archives, and some objects may be returning books we haven't read yet. What happens on December 19th may change everything. Will it fragment? Will it change direction again? Will NASA release those Mars images? We'll cover all of that in part 3. But for now, subscribe, turn on the bell, because the sky is whispering something, and we intend to listen. Leave a comment below. Do you think 3I Atlas is natural, artificial, or something else entirely? Welcome back. We are tracking the strangest object currently moving through our solar system, 3 Atlas, and the mystery continues to deepen. In parts 1 and 2, we covered how 3I Atlas, maneuvered against gravitational models, shifted to an anomalous blue hue. Is approaching Earth on December 19th, 2025, mirrors the entry vector of the Tunguska object of 1908, maybe following a recurring solar pattern linked to the Carrington event. And now, in part 3, we look at what happens next, and what new data is starting to suggest. This may be the same object, seen across centuries, changing form, but always returning when the cosmic alignment is just right. Here's what you might expect from an object getting closer to Earth. Increased heat, increased outgassing, possible tail development. But that's not what's happening with 3I Atlas. As of November 20th, observations from the Subaru telescope in Hawaii, the Lowell Observatory in Arizona, and amateur astronomers using SkyLive imagery all confirm still no tail, still no symmetrical coma. And most oddly, there is no visible fragmentation. Instead, something else is forming. Multiple nodules of light around the object's core, at least 3 distinct jets pulsing in a rotational pattern. This has led to a wild but growing theory. What we're seeing may not be a fragmenting object. It may be an object activating, like a spacecraft adjusting components. Consider this: comets lose mass, but 3I Atlas appears to be maintaining, or even redistributing its mass. Its shape has slightly changed, not broken apart, but become more defined. What if these jets aren't a sign of collapse, but preparation? This isn't the first time Harvard's Dr. Avi Loeb raised alarms about interstellar visitors. In 2017, the object Oumuamua zipped through our solar system on a hyperbolic path. It was cigar-shaped, accelerated in a way that didn't match expectations, and most scientists chalked it up to natural explanations, despite the fact it had no tail, no gas, and spun unnaturally. Sound familiar? 3I Atlas is now being called the second chance to study something we might have missed the first time. Dr. Loeb's team released a comparative chart showing that, while Oumuamua lacked jets, it moved irregularly and reflected metallic light. 3I Atlas emits rotational jets, is visibly blue, has a core spectral signature inverted from natural iron-nickel ratios. This is not just similar, it's potentially successor-level behaviour. And the kicker: Oumuamua passed silently through in 2017. Then 3I Atlas appeared 8 years later. The same window predicted by older propulsion models for controlled return probes. Could we be looking at a relay system, or even an object doubling back in a disguised trajectory? Let's triangulate. The WOW signal in 1977, picked up by a radio telescope in Ohio, came from a point near Sagittarius. Oumuamua entered from Lyra, but its hyperbolic exit pointed back toward that same Sagittarius zone. Now, 3I Atlas, also arriving near Sagittarius, is moving in a plane, consistent with a returning arc. We now have 3 known anomalies: the 1977 radio signal from deep space, the 2017 Oumuamua flyby, and the 2025 approach of 3I Atlas, all within 10 to 12 degrees of origin. all on returnable, hyperbolic paths, all behaving strangely. Could this be a triangulation pattern? Is something being mapped, measured, or are these arrival points for different pieces of the same mission? In recent underground scientific circles, including a leaked forum from a joint European SETI symposium, a theory is being whispered. They call it the silent gatekeeper. The idea is simple and terrifying. What if 3i Atlas isn't the main object? What if it's a recorder, a guardian probe, a device that only activates when the solar system reaches a certain configuration? This theory suggests 3i Atlas observes solar reactions, waits for electromagnetic alignment, then sends or receives data from points outside our system. Why else would it maneuver? Why else would it remain intact when physics says it should fall apart? And why is it returning at a time of solar peak? The solar orbiter detected something else on November 15th. A low-frequency burst from the sun's polar region. These sunquakes aren't rare, but this one was directional, and its vector pointed within 0.3 day of 3i Atlas's current path. Was this coincidence? Or was the sun reacting? Let's look at who's watching 3i Atlas right now. NASA's JPL has a dedicated internal channel, updating trajectory every 12 hours. ESA's solar orbiter is coordinating with multiple space agencies to monitor solar interactions. The Virtual Telescope project in Italy is live streaming visual tracking every week. Harvard's Galileo project has shifted resources to infrared measurement. The Las Vegas Galileo Array is scanning for radio anomalies. This is not a passive skywatch. This is an active, coordinated effort across continents. And despite all this, the public has yet to see the high-resolution imagery from the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter. As of now, the request from Rep. Luna and her team remains unanswered. What are they hiding? Or what don't they yet understand? On this day, 3i Atlas reaches its closest approach to Earth, at a range close enough for radar mapping and possibly even optical detail imaging. 4 possible outcomes are being debated. Natural comet fragmentation breaks apart from solar stress, metallic core exposure. Reveals a non-cometary body, jet activation, new thrust pattern, or maneuver data release. Emission of signals, particles, or fragments, whichever it is. This is the moment that everything builds toward. Harvard's Galileo project is calling it Event Horizon 3. A global effort is already in place to compare images from Chile, Canary Islands, Mauna Kea, Hawaii, Rome, Italy, India, Japan. If it behaves unnaturally at closest pass, it will be impossible to ignore. So now we face the question, what is 3i Atlas? Why does it resemble the object that flattened Siberia in 1908? Why does it return at a time of rising solar chaos? Why does it defy every physical model we've built? And why isn't anyone stopping it? Could it be a technology we weren't meant to understand? A monitor watching our solar system's rhythms? A trigger, waiting for the right moment? One thing is clear, something is approaching. Something unlike anything we've faced before. And all eyes, from Harvard to NASA, from the Vatican Observatory to the Las Vegas desert, are looking up. In part 4, the final chapter, we ask the hardest questions. Could this be connected to other civilizations? What are the consequences if we make contact or fail to? What will happen on March 16, 2026 if the intercept is launched? We'll also explore the psychological and philosophical implications of 3i Atlas, and whether humanity is truly ready for what this could mean. Don't miss the finale. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Are we alone? Or is something already here? This is it, the final chapter in our 4-part investigation into the mysterious interstellar object known as 3i Atlas. In the last 3 episodes, we uncovered a cascade of anomalies, maneuvers without known propulsion, a tailless jet pattern that defies cometary physics, a spectral shift bluer than our sun, a trajectory that echoes both the Tunguska event of 1908 and the Carrington solar superstorm of 1859, a timeline that may be cyclic, intentional, or both. But in this final part, we ask the question that science alone may never answer. Are we being visited or watched? And if 3i Atlas is not natural, what does it want? As December 19th approaches, experts around the world are narrowing the theories into 4 main categories. Let's break them down. Despite all its weirdness, 3i Atlas could still be a fragment of a comet. Nickel-rich, yes, but maybe from a rare planetary core breakup. Its behaviour would then be due to unpredictable internal pressure and a unique rotation axis. Problem: no coma, no symmetrical mass loss, and jets that appear timed. This is what Oumuamua was assumed to be, a rock from another star system. No ice, just tumbling metallic debris. Maybe this one is similar, a frozen core shielded by a mineral crust. Problem: that doesn't explain the manoeuvring. This is the one Avi Loeb won't ignore. What if 3i Atlas is not a comet at all, but a probe, not flying with chemical propulsion, but with controlled jets, smart redirection, internal programming? The evidence? 7 active jets, geometric symmetry, precision turn at perihelion no thermal decay, and possibly even a mission return arc. 4. The Gatekeeper Hypothesis. This is where speculation turns philosophical. What if 3i Atlas is neither a rock nor a probe, but something that watches, an archive, a warning, a non-sentient recorder designed to only respond to certain conditions, like the solar maximum, or Earth's electromagnetic field alignment, or our technological signature? And if that's true, then maybe we didn't find it. Maybe we triggered it. In 1974, astronomers sent the Arecibo message, a binary-coded signal aimed at the Hercules cluster, outlining human DNA, our solar system, and basic technology. In 1977, the WOW signal was received, a powerful, unexplained narrowband transmission lasting 72 seconds, never repeated. Now in 2025, 3i Atlas is approaching from the same direction. Its speed, faster than anything we can launch. Its behaviour, controlled. So the question must be asked, is this a reply? SETI researchers like Dr. Jill Tarter have long argued that contact may not come as a message, but as a pattern, repeating geometry, celestial timing, orbital alignment, and 3i Atlas is hitting all 3. Entering from Sagittarius, same sector as WOW, manoeuvring near perihelion returning on a cycle tied to Earth's magnetic vulnerabilities. If this is contact, it's not conversation. It's choreography. Here's a wild twist. Multiple biologists have quietly pointed out that the nickel-to-iron ratio in 3i Atlas matches metallic protein cores found in some ancient bacterial fossils. Far-fetched? Yes. But if this were a probe designed to seed life, or collect it, or scan for it, this composition might make sense. And get this. A study by the Virtual Telescope Project revealed unusual microwave reflections from 3i Atlas, suggesting hollow pockets or compartmental structures beneath the visible jets. Could these house samples, sensors? Is this thing alive in a mechanical way? The Galileo project, in collaboration with private aerospace partners, has floated a plan. A microsail probe launched via a high-altitude balloon assist and chemical rocket, slingshotting off Earth's orbit to intercept 3i Atlas by March 16, 2026. The mission has a name, Project AMUN, Autonomous Micro Unit Navigator. It's small, it's fast, and it would carry one job: touch it. This probe wouldn't sample. It would just scan, relay, and crash. Because if 3i Atlas isn't natural, a flyby might trigger a response. And the countdown is tight. Once 3i Atlas passes beyond Earth, it will accelerate into deep space. We may never see it again. This is our one shot. So what if, just for a moment, we let go of the scientific frameworks and ask something deeper? If this object is artificial, then something, someone, made it. If it is responding to the sun, to Earth, to us, then maybe we're not random in the universe. Maybe our solar system isn't just a rock tumbler of frozen accidents. Maybe there are rules, maybe there's a game. And maybe 3i Atlas is just a piece, a pawn, a scout, or a teacher in that larger structure. What terrified many scientists isn't The idea that 3i Atlas is a probe. It's the possibility that this is routine. That space is full of these things, and we've just never looked close enough to notice. Let's suppose 3i Atlas completes its pass. No impact, no signal, just silence. Will we forget it? Will it vanish into our data logs like Oumuamua or Borisov? Or will someone else find it? Because if this is the third interstellar object we've seen in 8 years, how many came before we had telescopes? If it returns, will we be more prepared next time? Will we try to talk, or will we still be asking questions to something that doesn't answer? The greatest mystery might not be what it is. But why now? December 19th, 2025. This date could become just another cold line in an astronomy report. Or it could become the day the sky spoke back. Right now, teams across the world, scientists, skeptics, philosophers, are staring into space, waiting for a fragment, a flicker, a whisper of something. That should not be there. Maybe 3i Atlas is just rock and ice. Maybe it's a beacon. Maybe it's a mirror, showing us how little we still understand. But one thing is certain, the story isn't over. Not yet. Because as of this moment, it's still out there, still moving, still watching. If you've followed this 4-part series, thank you. We'll be releasing real-time updates as December 19th approaches, with telescope footage, NASA press releases, and any response from the Mars Orbiter team. Make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the moment of closest approach. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think we're looking at alien tech, or just an unusually clever comet? And do you want us to launch Project Aimune? I read every single comment. Let's decode the sky together. Because in the end, the answer still lies in the vastness of the stars.